Welcome back to Good Gym, guys. Today we have a special guest that embodies the lift like a girl mentality. She's absolutely fantastic, and she's definitely like following her along her career and her social media stuff and everything that she's done so far. So that she really has taken inspiring her own experience in her life. It seems anyway to a new level and really living it the way that she wants to. She's an absolutely amazing person. I'm super excited to have you on, Jen. And you guys are in for a treat. So Jen, can you tell them a little bit about how you started in strength and conditioning, or like what kind of got you into this in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a really not active teenager, and I ended up failing high school gym class, not once, but twice. And here in Utah, it's actually a prerequisite to pass a semester of physical education in order to graduate. So it actually almost prevented me from graduating. I did not like exercise at all. I actually hated it. So it wasn't until I was it was when I failed high school gym class that was kind of the aha moment for me. I was like, wow, something probably needs to change here. So I ended up getting into group fitness classes. That was kind of how I got into fitness. I begged my mom for a gym membership, and that seemed to be the most kind of friendly way to start getting like some exercise. So I started taking step aerobics and spin classes and all that good stuff. So I ended up going from group fitness, and I actually kind of fell in love with that. I really loved like the camaraderie and the community, and I ended up teaching group fitness classes, which took me to a personal trainer. and from being a personal trainer, I started getting into figure competitions, which then led me to powerlifting stuff. So that's kind of like the progression of how I got into the
That's really cool. What you guys don't know is, because you can like Jen has this sounds, I don't know, it almost sounds funny. You've got a killer body. I mean, like just absolutely like set up for bodybuilding, set up for powerlifting, like killer body. So you guys are kind of missing out on that, but you can go and check her out on her other social media stuff. But so that's how you got it. So you literally, like, how do you fail gym class? Like, did you just decide not to participate, or?
That's actually exactly what happened. I just kind of went into it with a really bad attitude. I wasn't active at all. I didn't play sports as a kid. I mean, I played like a little bit of t-ball, but outside of that, I just wasn't active growing up. And so it felt really intimidating and scary to me. And when I got into high school gym class, they actually expect you to put forth a little bit of effort there. And I was so intimidated, and it was just too scary for me. And also they threw me into like this trial co-ed gym class. So there were boys in there, and 16-year-old boys aren't really like their most kind, mature selves yet. So yeah, I just wasn't interested.
Yeah, 16-year-old teenage boys, not exactly. It's like they get dumber for like 10 years, and then they like meet an equilibrium somewhere along the line. It's pretty funny. But so Jen also has a product. I forgot to mention this before. So she's got a product that's about to launch on 9/18. If you sign up for her, if you go over to her website and sign up for her stuff, it's called Dumbbell Domination. You guys want to go over there and hit her up for that. And so she's going to launch that on 9/18. And then she's also very involved in the Girls Gone Strong kind of movement type stuff. I don't know. Do you guys call it a movement? Do you guys call it, how do you explain Girls Gone Strong?
Yeah, I mean, I think the movement sums it up really well. We focus on everything, kind of like the all-encompassing thing for women when it comes to strength training and nutrition, but also hormones, pre- and postnatal, pregnancy, diversity. Like we try to cover like the run of the gamut for everything that embodies health and fitness for women.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I met Molly a few years ago at iFast, but I haven't, and I guess I've met Nagar too, but all you guys are really cool. Everybody that I've met from Girls Gone Strong anyway is really cool. I love the message that you guys are putting out, that girls should be strong, that they can be strong, that it's a powerful thing to get in there and throw some weight around. Can you tell us a little bit about your Dumbbell Domination product that you're putting out?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so stoked on this. I decided to put together this program because one of the things that seems to stand in the way for so many of my female coaching clients is they feel like they either don't have time or they don't have access to proper equipment. So they feel like that since they can't get into the gym, they don't have access to like a squat rack and a barbell, they feel like that it's pointless. So I decided to put together a really intense training program. All the workouts only require one set of dumbbells and 20 minutes or less. So super accessible, and it just makes it really easy for people to do it. Women that are moms, maybe their kids taking a nap, or people that are like entrepreneurs and can't get to the gym. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I think that is like a common misconception that you need all the equipment in the world. Yeah, like that you need a barbell, you need a set of kettlebells, you need a set of dumbbells, and really, like, even if you had all that, it would take up your entire house anyway. But really, all you would really need is your body if you want to go that far. But you could have a TRX or some gymnastics rings and what do you call those? The block weights. Those are like, both of those would take up a minimal amount of space, and you could get a really good workout in with both of them. But I think people have this idea in their head that, oh, I have to have all these dumbbells, all these barbells. I have to have a squat rack. It'd be very expensive, and it would take up a lot of room. And I don't know. It makes more sense to do what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it simple. Keep it simple and really effective.
Yeah, simple is super effective. Tony Jennifer was on the show the other day, and that's what he was talking about. That was one of the things we were talking about was program design. He's like, people are like regularly very surprised by how simple his programs are, and it's like, well, like, yeah, me too. It's just like, yeah, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, what are you doing? You're pressing, you're pulling, you're lunging, you're squatting, you're deadlifting, and you're doing variations of all of those. So it just doesn't have to be as complicated as you like to make it, I think, sometimes. Well, how did you get involved with Girls Gone Strong anyway? Like, how did that all start?
Yeah, it's the best story. I love it. So I'm one of the original co-founders of Girls Gone Strong, and I head up our Strongest Do coaching program currently. But I got involved with that. So me, Molly, Nagar, and 4 other women, we became friends online on social media. And one of the women, Julia Ladusky, was going to compete in a powerlifting meet in Tennessee. So 6 of us, plus Julia, we decided to meet in Tennessee to cheer Julia on for her powerlifting meet. And we all got together and we decided to lift together. So we were training, and all of us were talking, and we were saying, there is just nothing out there that is for women that are serious about getting strong and that don't want to focus so much on how our bodies look and how we can be smaller. And it was so weird. It was like this light bulb went off. And all of us had this moment where we were like, I think that this is what we're supposed to be doing. And so we ended up launching the Facebook page just days later, and it absolutely took off. So it was fantastic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember when I remember seeing stuff like when that all first started. I was like, this is perfect. Like, nothing really has ever been done to kind of, like, before that, like everything was built around all the marketing. Everything was saying, how do you make yourself smaller? How do you get skinnier? And nothing was really like, this is how you get strong. And like, if something did mention strength back then, it was like trying to like grow muscle and be a bodybuilder. It wasn't like what you guys are talking about. It was like being a strong woman. So I think it's just absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So what's that? Go for it.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, we're all about that.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. And then the pre and postnatal, is it a seminar? Is it a conference? Is it a webinar? What is it?
Yeah, so Girls Gone Strong is launching, we're calling CPPC. It's the Certified Pre- and Postnatal Coaching Certification. So this is a coaching certification, obviously, for people that are trainers, coaches, work with women almost in any capacity in a physical aspect, that want to have more information on how to properly train and safely train their pre- and postnatal coaching clients. So that launches from Girls Gone Strong September 5th. The most comprehensive, well-researched, science-based resource that has ever graced the market. I can't say enough exciting good things about this product.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think we were talking before we started about how, like, I talk about women exercising right after pregnancy to the point that doctors will actually write me notes and tell me that I'm wrong. And like what you just said, like, it's research-based, it's science-based. You guys have a ton of clout behind you. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, how many of the Girl Scout Strong women have kids?
Oh gosh, like in the community or
Percentage, like 80% of them, 90% of them.
I don't know. That's a great question. That would be it. I feel like that's probably a really solid guess, though. And we know that any woman that has ever had a baby is considered postnatal. So if you take that into consideration, so much of our community is postnatal.
Yeah, and I would imagine that like there's probably a ton of different ranges of stories, but a lot of them probably lifted up into term, or probably exercised and lifted up into term, and then had the baby, and then continued to lift to do exercise after. I mean, things need to change a little bit. I mean, like for instance, you might not do planks on like doing planks while you're 9 months pregnant. Maybe isn't the greatest idea, just because there's this huge thing right in that center that is pulling you down. But there's other activities that you can do. So it just seems like it blows my mind when people say, "Oh, you shouldn't be exercising because you're pregnant." What's your take? Like, what is your perspectives on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there is, especially with this subject, context definitely matters. It depends, where the woman was with her physical fitness before, how her pregnancy is doing. But with that being said, I still believe that there are forms of exercise that are appropriate for women, no matter where they're at, throughout their pregnancy and also right after their pregnancy. So that's what this product is really all about, is educating coaches and trainers, like how can we keep the woman as safe as possible. And also it's about removing that whole, like, let's lose the baby weight thing, because to be totally honest, the first 6 to 8 weeks, or probably even longer, I mean, a woman just gave birth to a new life. Like, that should not be the focus. The focus should be on healing the body and making it as healthy and strong as possible. So yeah, I think it's totally appropriate. It's just a matter of figuring out how to choose the best exercises for her and her body and her lifestyle.
Yeah, I do think that that's kind of the misconception, is that people think that going back to an exercise program means they're gonna max out on deadlifts the next day after they had a baby, or they're gonna, like do some like crazy exercise, like they're gonna do Turkish get-ups. They're gonna max out on their Turkish get-up the next day, and it's like, well, they just like went through like probably the most grueling thing of their life. I don't think that we're gonna do any maxing out for a while. Kind of like how you see programs changing. Like, what are some typical things that or like your top 3 things you could say about women coming back to exercise after they've had a baby?
Top 3 things that I think they should be doing.
Yeah, or should or shouldn't be doing. Maybe both. Go for it.
So it's something that we definitely see most frequently, is that huge emphasis put on getting back to the pre-baby body. And I do the little annoying air quotes because I think that's so irrelevant. Your body is so different after you give birth that I feel like I feel like it's kind of a waste of mental energy to be looking backwards. So like, let's focus on where your body's at right now and how we can make it as healthy and strong as possible. So I think the biggest mistake that we see is trainers and coaches that are like, oh, like, let's help you lose the baby fat or help get you back to your pre-baby body. The next thing that we see, and this is admittedly a tough one, is if you have an intermediate or advanced trainee, so they're used to going in and just crushing the weights, it's hard to reel them back in a little bit because they gave birth, they probably feel really good. So they're like, hey, why can't I go in and, do a max effort deadlift 3 weeks after I just gave birth? So it's kind of trying to educate them about the importance of their, the health of their pelvic floor and the trauma their body just went through. So I think that's another thing, is trying to like get them to kind of reel them back in a little bit. And then I think also it's just important to help them realize, again, like their body just went through this huge trauma. So we have to kind of ease into things a little bit, and getting them to play the long game with that rather than focusing on like what's happening today in the gym. Like, what happens today in the gym is going to affect your body 6 months, a year, 4 years from now. So getting them to kind of zoom out a little bit and see, like, ask, how is this going to affect how my body functions down the road?
Yeah, that's genius. That's amazing perspective. I mean, I'm kind of just like thinking about how we communicate with people when they come in after a pregnancy right now at Grit Gym, just thinking about how we, so like you're actually wrapping my head around some new ideas just right now. So thank you very much. So like exercise wise though, what are the big effects at the core? Like this is, I mean, the people that are watching the show right now are pretty fact oriented. Like what happens at the core, in your experience training with people and talking with people that have had a baby, what happens with their core that they need to really be careful of coming back?
So the biggest two things that come up are diastasis recti, which is the separation of the abdominal wall. So that's something that we need to be careful of. And then also pelvic floor health. And it's interesting. This is a topic that a lot of people, I think it kind of makes them like nervous and feel a little bit uncomfortable. And so that's why we're kind of trying to spread the word about this. So for example, you know, we have women that come back after they've had a baby. And I mean, some women, it's like 5 years after they've had a baby and they're doing double unders and they're leaking urine. This is common, but it's not normal. So there's a huge difference there. So I think it's very important to be paying attention to exercises that could be exacerbating the diastasis recti, and then also making sure that your pelvic floor health, maintaining the integrity of that is so important, or like it really can kind of cause a cascade of effects that are just long and unfun to kind of rectify.
Yeah, yeah. And the rectus splitting is is a really interesting thing. It's like, I mean, guys get that. It's not just a girl thing. Guys get that too. And whenever I've seen it, it looks like, for you guys that have never seen it, you'll have somebody put their legs up and lower them down slowly, and it looks like an alien is about ready to pop out of their stomach. And so a male or a female that has that, it's like an alarming thing. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, oh man, like, what's going on here? I think I was like 20 years old and I'd never seen it before and I didn't really know much about it. So I just went and like scoured all this research material, and almost all the research material was on pregnant women. So that was like the first introduction I had to any kind of postnatal or prenatal education on through exercise. But
yeah, it's really interesting. I feel like the diastasis recti and the pelvic floor health, those are two things that almost kind of stay a little bit hidden. So it's kind of hard to pay attention to those things. I feel like as a woman that really loves to train, I don't have children, but I feel like those two things would be hard for me to pay attention to, because it's like, well, I feel fine, so it's probably fine. So what we're trying to do is be proactive and educating about that before it gets to a problem.
Yeah. And I mean, it's an interesting place because that area of your body, it's so protected. Your body will just override it and just kind of hang back on the passive restrictions of your skeleton, you know, like, so and that will just feel normal so quick because it's just trying to survive. You know, your body's just trying to survive. So, and then normal becomes like this obsolete thing that one day is going to maybe get you really badly injured. So it's something to really take into consideration.
Yeah.
Not be all haphazardly about, but so when do you start adding in like big weights? When do you start, like, what do you change 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks out, and how do you know?
After giving birth?
Mm-hmm.
So it depends. There's so much of this that the answer is going to be, it depends. So it depends where the woman was before she had her baby, or before she got pregnant. Depends what she did throughout the pregnancy. Depends on how her pregnancy went for her and how the birth process went for her. So it's one of those things that I wish I could give a very definite, like, this is the answer, but it's just...
Yeah, we all do. Yeah, I wish I could just be like, oh, yep, 2,000 calories was correct. You better stick to it. But it doesn't. You're like,
well, it depends on so many things. So, yeah, but the resource is so amazing. It talks about all this. Everything that you possibly could want to know, and then some. It's going to be one.
Where can the people that are watching this find to get hooked up with the Girls Gone Strong pre and postnatal seminar conference? What are you guys calling it?
It's a certification.
Certification. Thank you.
Certification. So if you head over to the Girls Gone Strong Facebook page, we're talking about that fairly frequently. There's also a Girls Gone Strong closed Facebook group called Girls Gone Strong Coaching and Training Women. This is open to men and women that coach or train women in any capacity. So we've got all the information in those two groups, Facebook page and the closed Facebook.
Awesome. And where can they find your dumbbell domination?
Yeah, so the live link is actually currently in my bio for that on Instagram. Otherwise, if you go onto my Facebook page or Instagram, I'm going to be talking about it nonstop. So.
Awesome. Well, like, to switch gears here a little bit, like, so you started out not hating exercise, got into exercise, found out you loved it, you continued on, became a professional, and then now you're in the social media space too. At some point, we all go through it where the mysticism kind of wears off. You know, like, what do you do to stay? What do you do to keep yourself going, getting in the gym, staying strong, and doing your thing?
The thing that has been most helpful for me is to keep it fun, keep it enjoyable. Once the fun factor is missing, I am simply not interested. So if you see, like, on my Instagram account, I'll go in and squat, and in between sets of squats, I'll be doing handstands in the corner, or I'll be doing squats in the bar. Like, so I kind of plug some play into my rest times between big sets. And that's enough to kind of keep me interested and keep me excited and keep me happy, because there are going to be movements that we all have to do in order to maintain a really strong, healthy, balanced body that we might not be super stoked on. So I think it's important to be able to, like, inject some fun into it. That's been the key for me, because I don't want to go to the gym some days I don't want to go. So I have to, like, grind myself with, like, handstands and, like, new music on my iPod.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, it's like I don't, like, me personally, I don't really enjoy exercise anymore. You know, like, I think I used to, and I think I used to, like, really enjoy the masochistic kind of workout where you just worked yourself to the bone and you just walked out, like, you had to, like, almost crawl out of the gym. I don't like that at all anymore, you know? So, like, how do you keep yourself going? Like, to me, like, I just push myself out the door saying, do it anyway. Like, no matter how much you don't like it. But what are your exercises that you find yourself, like, me is chin-ups. I hate chin-ups. Like, always have a hard time getting yourself through. What are your hiccups?
Pressing. I'm a really, really strong puller, like, with pull-ups and chin-ups, deadlifts, rowing, like, that's my jam. And so anything pressing, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. And so I'm kind of the opposite. Most people tend to press more than they probably should. They need to do more pulling. I am the complete opposite. Like, I have to force myself to do enough pressing just to stay kind of balanced, because I just love to pull so much.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Like I do deadlifts over squats any day of the week, and like, benching just is. I have zero desire. Like, when it comes to like being that, like, the typical Monday, Wednesday, Friday bench press, the typical male workout, right? I'm just like, nah, I'll just skip the bench press. It's fine.
Yep.
But, well, Jen, what are some things, like, last words of wisdom, things that people can carry with them, that like, things that you want to push out to the world, that you want to make sure that everybody knows?
Gosh, last words of wisdom. That's a tough one. I'm not sure. I think for me, the biggest thing has been focusing on putting to use my gym work and how I can pull it outside of the gym. Like, what can I do in the gym to make life more enjoyable or easy or interesting? But that's kind of my focus.
Cool. That's awesome. All right. And then where can they follow you? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I don't know. How many social media channels do we have in the world right now?
Well, I actually am not.
What's that? We cut out there for a second. We cut out again. Sorry. What'd you say?
Can you hear me? I don't.
Twitter. Okay. I don't know why it's not coming through. Sounds got funny all of a sudden.
Yeah, it seems kind of strange. But Facebook, Instagram, and then my website, which is Jen Comas.
Okay. And what's your handle on Instagram?
Jen Comas.
Jen Comas. I don't use Twitter either. I think it's just kind of an annoying platform to me. It's like to me it feels like I'm at a rave and I'm not on drugs when I'm on Twitter. It's just too much.
Kind of noisy.
Yeah, it's super noisy. But Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is probably my most favorite one right now. It's just kind of fun. But, so guys, it's jencomas.com. Is that right?
Yeah.
Guys, head over to jencomas.com and sign up for our newsletter. That'll get you early access to Dumbbell. Go over to the Girls Gone Strong page and grab that certification for the pre and postnatal. It sounds really cool. Like, I'm very much in support of what you guys are doing. I think it's awesome. And it's something that the world really needs more of. This idea that only guys are allowed in the weight room space and with their machismo, ego, bullshit nonsense is kind of silly. And for females to kind of be able to crowd their way in there and actually have a place now that they can feel safe and welcome there, I think is absolutely fantastic. So I love what you guys are putting out. If there's any way that I can support you guys in the future, just let me know.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate it. Guys, go ahead and head over to jencomas.com and then make sure to follow her on Instagram and on Facebook. As always, we come to you every day at 12:30. Please take the time, hit share. If you like the message that Jen is putting out, and I know you do, click share and send this out to everybody that you know, and then hit the like button. Thanks, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks, Jen, for being here. I really appreciate that, too.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. All right.